погнали. Все. Все, гайс, готовьтесь, готовьтесь, готовьтесь. Юля, читай субтитры. Ребята, без субтитров игра полная лажа. Я русскую озвучку включать не буду. Русская озвучка для... Фух. Не для... Вообще просто. Русская озвучка ни о чем, как по мне.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Читайте, читайте.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard.
Стэнли очень полезный.
Through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Ясно.
Stanley was happy.
Стэнли нажимал на кнопочки, и больше он ничего не делал.
One day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
Ого, что-то случилось.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Вы поняли, да? Он нажимал на мониторе своем кнопочки постоянно. И нажимая эти кнопочки, он выполнял свою работу. То есть ему поступал приказ зажать J на 5 секунд, он зажимал. Нажать А, он нажимал А быстро, там, допустим. А сейчас приказы перестали поступать, и Стэнли в шоке. Как так его работает? Что ему делать-то? Камон. Вы что, офигели, что ли? Вот он в шоке. Все, сейчас, ну-ка. Диктор, ну-ка, ну-ка, ну-ка. Он отреагирует, если я минуты еще 3 потуплю. Как так-то, а, Стэнли? Да как так-то? Где приказы? Где команды? Все, Стэнли в осадке. Ладно, видимо, все-таки надо подвигаться. Ну, пойдем. Что нам говорит диктор? Как? Где все? Может, какое-то уведомление было? Это ужастик? Нет, вообще нет. Опа! Окей, я вошел в дверь слева. Погнали.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Ну, капец, где все?
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Тут, короче, написано, как работать, как делать слайды и прочее. Ой, капец.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Окей. Мы идем наверх, как нам говорит диктор. Мы делаем все, как говорит диктор. Мы в шоке вообще.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Офигенный диктор.
Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And
Вот,
so the boss
панель.
had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845.
2, 8,
But of course,
4, 5.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code.
Как
by
так я
sheer
угадал
luck.
код? Ого.
Amazing. He
Ой.
stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Я зашел сюда. Да, все правильно. Все как говорит диктор. Мы спускаемся вниз. Все четко по инструкции диктора. 5 раз так пройду. Готовьтесь. Голос офигенный, да, у диктора? Бот сам себя уже лапает, с ума все посходили.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself.
Привет,
Question
Алина.
the nature of his job. Why did he
Всё.
feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him?
Почему
This
же он...
question would not go unanswered for long.
Мы идем дальше.
Stanley
Стэнли...
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Станция управления. Видите, escape. Но нет, мы идем стандартненько, ребят.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
How
Stanley
horrible
thought to
secret did
himself.
this
Did he
hold?
have the strength to find out?
Хватит ли мужества у него узнать все это? Да никакой это не хоррор. Нет, ни в коем случае. Вы диктора слушаете, нет? Как вам диктор? Шикарный, нет? Алло.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Я, конечно же,
Each
проходил
bore
эту
the
концовку.
number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally
Читайте
limited in this
субтитры.
place where freedom meant nothing.
Вот так вот. Какой ужас. Над нами все управляют. Так, 427. Вот, 427. Сейчас посмотрим, что у нас там показано. Ну, видите, мой кабинет. Кто-то управляет нами. Ужасно вообще. Стэнли в
This
шоке.
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Планли?
No. He
Нет.
refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life
Его жизнь
in
под
someone
контролем.
else's
Никогда.
control? Never.
Never.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Это blind to the world? Неужели все это было?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled
Счастлив.
with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over
Да.
another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Так, что там надо? Нам вырубить вроде ее надо. Сейчас мне диктор подскажет, я слишком туп. По-моему, тут надо выбирать. Да, он это типа контролировать, оффлайн это вырубить. Ну, мы вырубаем всю эту систему. Ух! Кого убрать? Своего бота я не уберу. Вивбота я не знаю, как убрать. Все, Стэнли победил машину. Игра пройдена, ребят.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command.
Пожилая сила.
Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Всё, мы всё.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Все, я прошел игру, ребят. Всем спасибо, что были на стриме. Всех был рад вас видеть. Вот она, вся игра Стэнли. Огромнейшее вам спасибо. А нет! Что-то заново все.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Я еще 4 раза так пройду. Мне интересно, что будет дальше.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover
Как так-то? Опять никого нету. Что ж такое?
What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind
Что мне теперь делать?
desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind
Опа!
the boss's desk.
Какая-то панелька.
What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Какой Стэнли? Он угадал код. Невероятно. Это, Алина, дальше будет круче. Дальше ты будешь орать, как скотина. Я тебе отвечаю. Я тебе отвечаю. У меня есть парочку моментов, где ты будешь орать, как скотина. Ну, не парочка, один точно есть. Но его позже. Видите, да? Уже, как бы, вариантов куча тут.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Готовьте свой ор выше гор, ребят. Как так-то? Никого нету, мной управляют. Я Стэнли, я же жал кнопочки.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place.
Вам нравится голос диктора? Еще раз спрашиваю, вы можете отреагировать?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true.
Давайте еще 4 раза мы должны пройти. Он скоро будет так злиться. Я тебе отвечаю, я его заставлю злиться.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Never.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it?
Разве такое возможно, что мной кто-то управлял? Как это? Счастлив, несчастен.
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of
В Доте 2 есть его озвучка, The Stanley Parable.
This past began to sink in. Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible.
Все, мы отключим эту ужасную машину, ребята, она ужасна. Так, дважды прошел эту концовку. А, FPS падает, все. Еще 3 раза пройти, ребят. Наберитесь терпения. Да, Стэнли, ты смог. Да. Да.
Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Еще 3 раза! Я упорный, я хочу еще 3 раза. Я хочу, чтобы диктор заблокировал нафиг мне этот проход. Если еще 3 раза он ничего не сделает, я разочаруюсь в этой игре, ребят. Серьезно. 3 раза еще. Сразу 2 двери. Лол? Ну не хочу я в лол. Сразу видели, да, без офиса, без всего. Сейчас диктор начнет уже бомбить, походу. Так, вот это вот не забудь. Вот здесь я заставлю диктора гореть жопу.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. At last, he began to move about and survey the situation. He found a keypad behind the door.
Я уже час валялся на полу.
Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's
Какой же скрывал секрет? 2845?
Code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistic. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible. He didn't
Уже горит.
Just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Сука, я поторопился слегка, диктор уже пригорает. Спасибо за музыку, брат. Послушаем.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Так, это у нас третье прохождение, да? Третье. Какой ужас. Что же тут скрывается? Стэнли в шоке. Диктор, ну ты придумай варианты. Стэнли настолько торопился, что даже не захотел послушать диктора.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
У меня хватит мужества все узнать.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Freedom meant nothing.
This
Вообще.
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Знаешь, какая у него была работа, Алина? Он сидел на мониторе, ему на монитор приходили задания, какую кнопочку нажимать, и в какой последовательности, в каком времени. Он сидел, тыкал вот так вот кнопочки. Там J на 5 секунд зажать, К быстро нажать. И тут ему перестали поступать команды. Как так? Он час еще просидел, ждал команды, ничего не было. И вот он решил пройти в конференц-зал, узнать все. Я уверен, что диктор как-то отреагирует, потому что я постоянно в одном и том же направлении прохожу игру. Я не видел еще этой концовки. Поэтому я хочу пройти. Он как-то отреагирует? Нет на это. Он должен отреагировать на это. Я упорный.
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power.
Это третье прохождение, еще два, крепитесь.
Would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ну, по-любому он должен сгореть.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay.
Ладно, давайте 4 раза. Нет, 5 раз. Я хочу 5 раз пройти.
How had he been freed from the machine's grasp?
Я терпеливый.
What mysteries did this strange building hold?
Я пройду
As
эту игру
sunlight
5
streamed
раз.
into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Так в этом и
No
суть.
longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he
Я
lives,
тебе говорю, потерпи еще чутка. Чуть попозже будет вообще грязюка.
it was perhaps the only thing worth
Терпи, терпи, солнце, терпи, радость моя, терпи, рыбонька моя, терпи, мое дорогое солнышко, Алиночка.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, The feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path
Алиночка, еще 2 раза. Пожалуйста, я очень хочу это сделать.
right now that things were meant to happen.
Я уверен, что он как-то мне что-то напоганит. Эта игра слишком хороша. Алина, потрахаемся с сексом, пока мистер Монстра нет.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Внезапно, да, просто?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Я вошел сюда, да.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Что-то пока что он не горит особо.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passage. Oh, surprise.
Ла-ла-ла, мы уже все знаем. О, новый проход, все круто. Уже начинает реагировать. Видите, да? Что-то значит есть. Отлично. Какой молодец. Какая же я умничка. Бла-бла-бла, всякие секреты. А, иди уже вперед, Стэнли.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Ну, видишь, уже
What
скипается
horrible
потихонечку.
secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Это уже 4-й проход, и будет 5-й. Если на 5-м ничего не будет, я ой как разочаруюсь, если честно.
Now the monitors jumped.
Эта игра слишком хороша, чтобы ничего не было.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Какой ужас.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Это 4-й раз, да?
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or
Тут типа
sad
все.
or content.
А, потом. Нет, я не буду спойлерить.
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
Ничего.
As the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Да ладно, диктор, ты издеваешься, что ли?
And a rising chill of uncertainty.
Его, походу, прикалывает, когда я по одному и тому же сценарию прохожу.
Yes, he had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But
Андрею
as
напишу.
sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or
Алин, можешь пока на 10 минут отойти?
whatever life he lives, it will be his.
Да не,
That was all.
он у меня еще так будет подгорать. Я тебе гарантирую о том, что он очень сильно подгорит у меня.
Stanley stepped
Запомни
to
мои
the
слова.
door.
Все, freedom.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Все, последний раз именно по этой концовочке идем. Последний раз. Последний.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Наберитесь
Stanley decided
терпения.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
О, открыта все еще левая дверь.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Да ладно, что, ничего не будет, что ли?
Here's the door, just go.
Yes, door, just go. Вот дверь, просто иди, братан.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What
Это
horrible
пятый раз.
secret did this place hold? Stanley thought.
Это пятый раз, я
Did
считаю.
he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his
Да ты чё,
emotions
гонишь,
had
что ли?
been
Ты не
manipulated
отреагируешь
to
о том, что я
accept blindly?
пятый раз прохожу по одному и тому же сценарию?
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept
Да ты
his
должен,
own
ты
life
обязан.
in someone else's control. Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof.
Это пятый
The
раз.
heart of the operation. Controls laboring.
Алина, ты уже батишь меня еще раз так же пройти, да?
Content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible
Да будет
power
всё.
over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ну. Да ты гонишь и на Давай еще раз пройдем. Вот все, сейчас супер ласт. Супер ласт. Супер ласт, ребят. Все, супер ласт прям. По этому пути, по этой концовке. Супер ласт.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin.
Я уже не могу его слушать. Одно и то же. Последний раз. Все, супер ласт.
Right now, the things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Супер ласт. Супер ласт. Супер ласт. О, уже изменили интерьер, видите? Привет, Ника. Короче, это игра с бесконечным числом концовок. Тут главное слушать диктора и то, как он реагирует на все твои действия. У диктора шикарный голос, при этом считать субтитры. У диктора супер шикарный голос. Киберкотлетка? Да, я такой. Нет. Супер ласт, ребят, супер ласт.
Here's the door, just go.
Да тут она, я ей сказал, чтобы она на Стэнли сидела, как пожилая чухуахуа. Все, супер ласт.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Супер ласт, Алина. Все. Шестой раз. Потому что она читает субтитры, а не тебя. Так, мы идем сюда. Я нажму ее, но не сейчас. Нажму, но не сейчас. Это супер ласт, Алина. Терпение. Терпение. Пожалуйста, диктор, отреагируй, не разочаровывай меня. Ему что, в кайф, что ли, читать этот сюжет?
His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled.
Сука, я 6 раз ее прошел.
Or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
Да пожалуйста, диктор, сделай что-нибудь. Ну, диктор! Ну! Шестой раз, пожалуйста, диктор.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay
Ладно,
unsolved.
ничего страшного,
Where
ничего
had his
страшного.
co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Все,
No longer would anyone
окей.
tell him where to go.
Еще 4 раза, 10 раз пройдем. Я шучу.
My feelings will be
Ну, наверное, сейчас жопа на секунду пригорела.
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the
6
new
раз.
path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Я тоже хочу кушать. Но вместо еды у меня... хорошо пахнущий кофе. Ладно, все. Мне понравилось проходить, слушать эту концовку. Я еще хочу.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps. and a
Опачки.
painting. Was it a painting?
О,
or a
стоп, он
painting?
что-то реагирует.
He could
Подожди,
no longer
подожди.
recall.
Подожди. Он что-то уже реагирует. Стой.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Может, надо быть еще упорнее? Да, блин, ладно, все,
Yet
ребят,
there was
все.
not a single person here
Все.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ребят, готовы орать? Готовы орать? Погнали.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Чуланчик.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Да, действительно, отличный чулан. Ничего не нужно в нем делать, он
It was
хороший.
baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As
Как
it is,
какие-то...
he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
А так он стоял и нифига не делал. Стэнли, что ж ты такое? Зачем тебе сюда заходить?
Are you really still
Ты все еще в
here?
чулане?
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Я хочу стоять в чулане. Я хочу стоять в
You
чулане.
realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe...
Ну, пойдет 30-й десяток. Вы будете слушать, нет его?
When you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the
А ты
broom closet?" The broom ending was my favorite. I hope your friends find this concern.
О, ты получил концовку в чулане в конце чулана? Прикольно.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Ого, это довольно-таки грубо. Это очень грубо.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now.
Ты мертв.
You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system.
Да,
and
я
you
уфа...
collapsed.
Да, ты прав.
Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of
Готовьтесь,
before it
сейчас
begins
будут
to
кричать.
decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
Это
He
я.
or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer. Making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them.
Я даже знаю, как этого друга зовут. Ника, да?
All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Все, вроде он тут больше не горит. Теперь я выхожу.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before.
Да я бы не стримил, если не хочу. Да, я не буду играть хуже. Готовьтесь, ребят, готовьтесь.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. There's a monkey nearby you can have. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Кто может сыграть? Обезьянка, еще кто-то. Все. Это первая сюжетная линия с чуланом. Дальше еще будет спойлер.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Так, мы идем по другому пути, не ссыте. Опа. Чтобы быть богатым, что-то там. Чтобы быть что-то там, надо быть богатым. Что за жизнь мы выбрали одну? Какую выберешь ты одну? Какую выберешь ты свою жизнь одну, короче? Сейчас будет нереально секретная концовка. Хоррор. Готовьтесь, ребят. В этом лифте... В этом лифте сейчас будет очень страшно. Приготовьтесь. Сейчас мы спустимся в подвал. Все, ГГ. Просто готовьтесь, ребят, готовьтесь. Стэнли. Я вас предупредил насчет того, что тут будет ужастик. Потом не говорите, что я не предупредил. Так, по-моему, выкрикни что-то. А, я вырублю звук здесь. Ты дебил или да? Дебил, сука, тупой. Надо вырубать эти команды на время сингл. По-моему, это Стэнли поет. А, надо еще раз. Ну все, готовьтесь. Бау! А нет! Я обманул. Нет, я хочу нажать. Чё, хотите, чтобы я вырубил машину, да? Или вообще... Давайте туда пока что не пойдем. Так, я не помню, что тут. Опа-на! А, нет, я встал. Подожди-ка. А, да, тут просто тупик, да? Угу. А тут? А тут?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Нет.
Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Как думаете, его ждет жестокая смерть?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Да мне некогда. Мы куда-то грохнулись. Пока что по стандартному пройду концовочка.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh my goodness. А? Шо? Кого?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
А нет. Я ходячий труп. The Walking Dead.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever.
Да.
What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Stanley's computer. Office slated. The Office. Там была косынка, да? Тут у нас что? А тут у нас что? И косынка. Ну, не косынка, я не знаю, может, что-то другое. Блин, тут еще два пути, что ли? Неужели все это было предсказано до меня, ребята? Неужели все это ложь? Кавл? Короче, говорят то, что мы издеваемся в этой игре над Стэнли. Да. А есть русская локализация всех этих портретов, интересно? Да. Кого попозже? Ты еще не посмотрела и 20 концовок. Ты издеваешься надо мной? А, это тоже одна из концовок. О-оу. А, окей. Стримить, что ли, пошел? Давай, удачи постримить.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Да, дикторша чужая влилась. Бумс, сейчас, по-моему, меня
Can
сплющит.
you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let
Ну чё, выходить?
time choose for you. Don't let
Чё, выходить или нет? Давайте быстренько, кто за какой вариант? Выходить или продолжить играть, чтобы меня расплющило? Продолжить? Уверена? Я не помню, что со мной будет, но, по-моему, что-то плохо.
time.
Все? Так, я отойду ненадолго. Мне интересно, тут что будет, нет? Или надо будет перезапускаться? Я быстро. Шо, 0 реакции? Ну да ладно.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Подожди, тут же можно как-то залезть вроде. Тут вроде как-то... О! Давай! Залази! О! О, погнали! Оба!
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Нет, не надоело.
Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total?
Он меня байтит второй раз пройти игру.
Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Покедова. Пока.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Да, мы идем сюда.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go
Готов?
back to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered
Тут
the
одна
possibility of
концовка.
facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it.
Он спит.
I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
О, нет, мы парим!
He imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How
Как
could
же
it be?
так?
Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back,
Да, матрас,
fresh air of the
одеялко.
world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
У меня шум микро? Ну, блин, я знаю. Могу оффить.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Но я буду включать, когда буду что-то говорить. А вот и Стэнли проснулся.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Так, сейчас мы что сделаем? Сейчас мы что... О! Пошла жарень. Уже что-то другое.
Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Да-да. Нет, это ГГ, по-моему. Сейчас начнется уже ГГшечка. Или пока еще нет?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ира, посмотри внимательно на чулан.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Все, минус кладовка моя любимая. Так, все, мы больше... Это последний раз, когда мы идем по этому пути. Открывай. Потом мы пойдем направо. Начнем там все концовочки проводить. Все, уничтожаем все нафиг. Ой, пытаемся управлять всем нафиг теперь.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
Все.
Stanley
Да,
decided
6
that
раз
this
прошел
mission
одну и ту же
would never
концовку.
again exert its terrible
И
power
ГГшечка.
over another human life. For
Врубаем.
he- Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls.
Да, я его
After they
активировал.
kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control
Да.
of the machine for yourself.
Да.
Is that what you wanted?
Да.
Control?
Я хочу власти.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. Long until detonation then?
2 минуты.
2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desire.
Я уничтожу эту
Oh, this is
машину.
much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning?
Нет, я так не думаю.
I mean, look at
Я
you.
думаю, что мне ГГ.
Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in the
Я ни на чё не кликаю, не ври.
No, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door.
О, подожди, дверь?
Something here will save me.
Ах ты ж скотина!
That this video game can be beaten, won, solved. Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to
Третья
control this
синяя?
world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
Goodbye.
Take a look at the clock, Stan.
427.
That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30
Да ёкарный
seconds
бабой.
and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go
Ah!
gracefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Опачки.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread,
А чё
and
субтитров
coffee
нет?
cans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Не понял. А вот этого я уже не понял сейчас. Это у меня уже впервые. Интересно.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Да, хочу полюбоваться комнатой отдыха, она прекрасна.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Да, прекрасная
At this
комната
point,
отдыха.
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone
Да
left.
дай ты мне отдохнуть. Не торопи сюжет.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Игра мне пытается что-то сказать.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Нет?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Да, странно.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why,
Да.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Хорошо, я даю
Now,
тебе
listen
шанс.
carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Давай зайдем в красную дверь.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. I would We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
Тихо, в смысле стоп?
Well, I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
А. Эм. Ого, а это что-то неожиданно.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Не, мы можем как бы это.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Блин, мне чё, спрыгивать, что ли? Ты гонишь, диктор? Я чуть не хочу спрыгивать. Чё? Кого? Не, давай назад вернемся.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
Очень забавная игра. Походу надо будет прыгать. А тут можно спрыгнуть? Нет. Тут невидимое ограждение везде. Окей.
No. What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You are going to stay here, aren't you?
Че, все?
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
Понятно, понятно.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can.
Здорово,
If we stop
Рикетс.
moving, we just have to stop moving. Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this. No. No, no, what do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
You can jump. Yeah!
Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
Ладно,
Can you
ладно.
do that for me?
Да, Это та игра, где Стэнли должен ходить
Perhaps
по
you
комнатам.
can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
Нет, я вернусь назад.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? You'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You will literally
Я знаю.
kill yourself
Я
by
уже слушал автора 6 раз подряд.
reading the situation correctly.
6 раз подряд, Карл.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along.
Как мне вас
I
жалко.
guess that was too much
Жалко.
to ask. It looks like you wanted
Где
to make a choice
кнопочки?
after all. Well, this one is yours.
Не жаль тебя, диктор.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Я знаю, что ты... Блин, Дрикец, я в нее играл до того, как ты пешком под забор ходил.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Тебе явно не показалось.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
Да.
Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by
Да.
the very last
Давайте
step,
теперь в синюю
just
дверь
to
войдем.
admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Давай, удачи бороду
Stanley,
поправлять.
I
Ты
think
так говоришь,
we've
как будто
gotten
это
off on
что-то
the
очень
wrong
сложное.
foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something
Хорошо,
beautiful.
хорошо,
Look,
хорошо.
let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on
Давай,
your
даю
side.
тебе шанс,
Give
давай.
me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Безусловно, Стэнли вошел в красную дверь, безусловно.
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Нет. Отдай.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Нет.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road? You've
Да.
chosen well. Don't let me stop you.
Спасибо.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work
Деревья
with me, you've
навыков.
given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
Хорошо.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel
Должна
free to be
критика.
honest. I'm looking for some real
2 из
factual
5.
feedback here.
2 из 5.
Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It
Да.
didn't cause you excruciating pain.
Да.
Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Да 10 из 10.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on. And
О.
now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't
Да,
mind taking a
давай.
look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot
Давай,
it.
давай, давай, давай. Запускай новую игру. Так.
Baby
Молодец. Нужно нажать на кнопку, чтобы обратно, если он доползет до окна, игра проиграла.
reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for you. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Так, куда мы еще не ходили?
Well,
О, Майнкрафт.
better? At last, the one thing you've always desired.
Майнкрафт
Game I
это
had
моя жизнь,
absolutely
сука.
nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Спасибо.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Так, мы можем сделать его из алмаза. Ну, пойдем добывать алмаз.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Не, нету.
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Ого! Это что это сейчас было справа от меня? Я даже испугался. Кста минус вебка. Ты давай меня не пугай, хорошо?
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Это старый добрый портал. Старый добрый портал.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty.
Я не
I really
рекламник.
don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here.
А, можно ты
You
мне
can
не будешь
pretend
тут
you've beaten the
оставлять?
game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just
Я
sit
ничего
there
не
and
делаю
let it
вообще с
fall
этой
up
рекламой.
inside
Я,
you
в
for all
принципе, ничего не
eternity.
могу с ней
I
делать.
don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons. I
Push
think I'll
buttons.
just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then, I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work. And I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Пока. Ой. Ну это уже какая-то страшилка. Привет, Даш. Четыреста 427 моя. 425. 426, 427. А вот и моя комната. И шо? И шо? И шо тут у нас? Все, дотыкался.
I wonder what he found.
О,
If what he wanted was to be the
о.
leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Ну все? Заново? Так, что мы еще, где мы еще не были? Где мы еще,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
где же
be?
мы еще не были, а?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Я что-то уже не помню. Так, ну в этой зимней комнате мы уже как-то бывали.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Так, тут, по-моему, еще одна проходка будет, да?
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got
Пока.
back on track.
Пока, диктор.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, From here, it's left. Oh no, no, it's to the right. My mistake.
Ладно.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
Сука, хватит издеваться надо мной, а?
It's clearly. Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep. Okay. Yes, I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Он сценарий там перечитывал с моим участием. Куда мне там идти? Я ж Стэнли, я сам не понимаю, куда же мне идти, да? Окей, пойдем.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a
Это же
spoiler. Quick, Stan,
спойлер.
close your eyes. Okay. We just have to oh, who am I kidding? It's rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Сука. Ах ты ж хитрый, а?
All of his coworkers
Жучара.
had gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Окей, где я еще не был?
When Stanley... Wait. What? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over. Completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in the room with all the
Ну, я
monsters?
такой, я
Do you
могу,
know
да.
of a story somewhere or a...
Да.
Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
Давай. Попробуем найти историю. Окей.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before.
Нам снова перезагру.
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting
Перезапускай.
over and over again. But it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Да, давай рискнем, давай, хорошо. Ох, субтитры зависли.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is where we just came from. Why don't we go the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Давай вернемся обратно. Может быть, мы что-то где-то пропустили.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and
А тут
retrace
тупик,
our
да?
steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
Да, у нас была в офисном этом история.
Well, you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you
Спасибо, спасибо.
really paid off. So, good job.
Молодчина.
I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in
Да,
any
я
actual work for that
такой.
win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Хорошо, давай зарестартим игру.
All right. I'm gonna this time to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable.
Просто... Окей.
Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Все, понял, понял. Теперь-то мы точно пройдем эту игру хорошо. Так. Просто следуем за линией.
The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
Давай.
Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
О! Минус уши просто. Просто минус уши. Спасибо за музыку, конечно, но можно как бы чуть-чуть потише ее. Хотя бы так. Тарап-тарам. Вперед, навстречу к приключениям! Че, Ир, как играть тебе?
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important
Так.
later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully.
Окей, я даже принтскрин сделаю, чтобы его запомнить. Так, где тут принтскрин? Слушай, может зачивка за принтскрин дастся мне, а? Так, и где эта клавиша? Принтскрин? Намлок, Ент, ПД, ПУД, Линс. А, вот, PS. PS же это принтскрин? Эй. Эй, я хочу сделать скриншот. Как в стиме делать скриншот? Кто мне подскажет? F12 вроде. Да, окей, скриншот сохранен. Че, игра, дашь мне какую-нибудь ачивку, нет? Нет. Так.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No.
Полоса.
Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of the... Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Так, снова окей, давай, Стэнли.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us?
Я не знаю, что она для нас хорошего сделала.
Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Входи в нее, а я пойду в окно. Эй! Я хочу в это окно пройти прямо сейчас. Игра! Походу, слушай, когда параллельная история идет, нельзя в это окно пройти. Понял, принял. Окей, давай пойдем сюда. Хорошо.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley
Да.
finding a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Он опять меня загнал в угол. Что ж ты за скотина такая, а? Так, сейчас минуточку одну. Well. А, вон, ну наконец-то. Наконец-то ты меня вывел.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No
Никакой
lines,
полосы
no
ТМ
text.
нету.
Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine.
Просто на нее ТМ. Ладно, не будем на нее обращать внимание. Я понял, полоса нас приведет в тупик. Мы просто идем вперед. О!
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision.
Так, нам нужно сделать выбор. Хорошо.
How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Ах ты ж сволочь! Открой мне левую дверь. Открой, я не хочу идти.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this
First
is?
restart, second
It's all
restart,
one
home
giant
restart.
ending. And we're
А,
supposed
это
to restart
сейчас,
the game
типа...
eight times? That's really how all
8 раз?
It's all determined? So now,
Точно,
according to
точно.
the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Я просто все забываю. А что если не хочу забывать?
My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing.
Ну, это уже сложновато.
Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No,
Это
it
типа
can't
вот
be.
эта концовка
I don't
описана
want it to
сейчас.
be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come first? Will something happen?
Найти линию, следовать за линией.
Okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if
Сука. Так, сейчас, секунду, мне надо кое-что глянуть. А сейчас что будет интересно? Так, я не помню. Так, вообще, сколько я достижений получил в Стиме за Стэнли? Восемь. Click on the door 5 time. Что-то мало достижений. Думал, у нее достижений 500, может, скрытых дофига. The Stanley Parable.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
Ага. Слушай, что за 888? Может, это надо 8 раз завершить игру, а? А, кликнуть на 430-ю комнату. 426. 430. Раз, два,
Oh,
три.
please. Are you really just doing this for achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that
Читайте.
you think an achievement is worth? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such a measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's
Ах ты сука! Где моя ачивка? Мне Steam сказал, что ты дашь мне ачивку.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble
50 кликов.
perhaps 50,
Окей, 50 кликов. Давай, брат, я готов.
50 clicks.
А, сука! Я посмотрел на ачивки.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the
Я
cost.
буду жать
Why
тебя
don't you go put
бесконечно.
20 clicks into door number 4?
417 раз? Да камон, ты издеваешься? Наконец-то Андрей пришел. Нет! Я не готов к стольким кликам. Сучара, ты лишил меня достижения. Кликнуть 5 раз на дверь 430. Еще какие-то восьмерки были. Может, восьмерки это 8 раз окончить игру? Давайте еще 2 раза окончим по нашему сценарию. Нет, он сказал 417 кликов. Да пошел он в жопу, короче. Да? Он рассказал 20 кликов на 400 на свою, что ли, комнату? Во, я сюда готов кликать вечно. Подожди, он мне в итоге даст ачивку или да? Давайте 7 раз пройдем. 6 раз я уже прошел. Ой, не 7, а 8.
Here's the door, just go.
Не зря же там воскурс 8 раз. Блин, окей, я вернусь и попробую эту ачивку выполнить. Такс. Давайте еще поздрачиваем эту игру.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Не зря что-то достижение 8, мне кажется, 8 раз пройти игру, вот серьезно. Я не знаю почему, но я в этом уверен.
Lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Еще дважды
What
проходим.
horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
Расслабак.
One of them,
Ради благого не смог 470 раз кликнуть. Да нифига, я хочу ачивку 5 раз кликнуть. Блин, меня Steam сейчас так обманул жестко.
this mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Да иди ты в жопу 417 раз кликать на дверь. Я думал, он отреагирует на тот факт, что я уйду от него. Давайте сейчас попробуем 8 раз пройти концовку.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machine...
Окей, это 6-й раз. Ой, 7-й раз, 7-й. Я точно читал.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled
Я её
himself from someone
победил.
else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
Свобода так
And yet,
близко.
even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber,
Ого, посидим, посмотрим. Я сейчас быстренько сгоняю за едой.
even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Че, все? Все, да? Я видел с телефона, что ничего не происходит.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
Обидно.
the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Я был счастлив. Угу, спасибо, Даш. Спасибо. Спасибо.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is?
Еду.
Worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort
Два.
for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it.
5.
Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 416?
А, 20 раз на дверь 417. 417, 20 раз. Он сказал 417? Но это у меня же нету 417. Давайте попробуем на это прокликать. А где 417 дверь? А вот 420. Вот 417. Раз, два, три, 4, 5,
Great. Now, go
6.
click a few times on door 437.
На 437. Окей. 437.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Окей, 415. Я хочу эту ачивку.
Now, back to door number 437.
437, да, он сказал?
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Копировальный аппарат?
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
Залезть на стол работника 419. Дай мне мою ачивку.
Yes, this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
Ладно, хорошо. Теперь дай мне пару кликов на дверь 416. Сейчас найду, я дам тебе пару кликов на дверь 416.
We've almost got it. Now the copy machine, do that one again.
Сука.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 clicks on door 430.
Раз, два, три, 4.
Yes, we did it. Oh, wow. That felt amazing. You really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud.
Мне
of you.
дали эту ачивку.
Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Я это сделал, сука. Так, 8-й раз проходим
Stanley came to a
концовку.
set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Да, круто.
And coming to a
Всё, это
staircase,
8-е
Stanley
прохождение
walked
моё.
upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
Что-то мне кажется, 8-ка это хорошая будет сейчас. Все у нас получится.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ой, простите.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Что едят чемпионы? Салфетка, кстати.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy,
Идем на 8-й раз
sad,
концовку.
or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this...
На 8-й раз что-то будет? Ну, я имею в виду не этот, а этот. Ачивка. Ачивка.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way.
Не, ну если мне сейчас 8 не дадут, либо это бесконечность означает,
And Stanley
то я как бы закончился. Сука, где моя ачивка? Я знаю, где мы еще не были. Сейчас все будет,
All his
гайс.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Фу, блин, я испугался аж.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let
Oh,
her
hi,
back
hi,
into
hi,
your
Vagrant
life.
Story Boy.
She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be
Возьми
a choice.
трубку. Нет, не возьму.
You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible.
How are you?
Double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second.
Приятного аппетита.
No, that's not possible.
I'm
I can't
too
believe
eating.
it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Да, я не
I
Стэнли, я
can't
реальный
believe I
человек.
was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instruction.
О, внимательно веди инструкции.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make?
У него есть выбор:
That unlike
подарить
here, the
цветочки
real world makes
или
sense.
поджечь
No
ребенка.
time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then
Если человек
provide an
говорит
excuse
что-то
why he
нелогичное,
cannot
значит его не
continue talking.
существует.
Turn to
Прекратите
a
с ним
partner and
общение.
practice saying,
И он
"My
вскоре уйдет
goodness,
сам.
Is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Правильность выбора.
Excellent. Making choices
Вот.
on a regular
А
basis
вот,
is
вот и
the best
субтитры
part to a
появились.
healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices
Не менее
per
8
day.
выборов в
Do
день.
you
А вы
make more
делаете
than 8?
больше 8,
Less?
меньше?
And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Окей.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative
Да,
conflict. But
действительно.
not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Хорошо, мы сейчас будем делать правильный выбор.
Now that we know your choices are
Я хочу
meaningful,
спрыгнуть.
we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make
Нельзя
no
вам
sense
дать
at all.
умереть.
We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
И не прыгайте. И чё? Я ничего никак не могу нигде. Походу, да. Сейчас закроют за мной дверь. Сука! Ебой!
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came
Ира,
to
куда мне
the
входить?
two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ир, налево или направо? Давай. Чё, куда? Левая? Точно? Окей.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling
Надо было направо вот зайти. Там бы игра...
hoping he might find an answer there.
Там бы игра забагалась.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Опа-на.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human
Ух
life.
ты!
Shocked,
Смотри-ка.
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it.
Ага.
Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the
Ночная акула.
passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Стэнли не хочет говорить кодовое слово. Стэнли хочет забагать тебя снова.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Хорошо. Я произнес его.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. Is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Окей. Мы что-то плохое сделали.
I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you... My story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What
Потому
did you
что
think
я
was so
могу.
special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? Well, it's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue,
Потому что я
to
могу.
know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Ну хорош, не выключай игру.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me?
Я тут как бы, да.
Time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Так, я не помню, какие еще есть концовки. Я что-то уже даже достаточно их посмотрел, но что-то еще можно сделать по-любому.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Давай так же встанем, как он. Эй! А можно на меня там как-то отреагировать? Обидно. Слушайте, я не знаю, куда дальше, а серьезно. С левым мы вроде бы все
This was
изучили.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Good job. Good job. Да. О, телефон.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Короче. Все. Спасибо, что были на стриме, Ира. Я, в принципе, показал максимальное количество концовочек. Фух, я слегка уже долбался. Вот. Но в целом, как бы... Все хорошо. Все шикарно, все супер. I'm going away. Пока.